Alright, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. The name of the video is Kamala Harris goes viral for stunning admission on The View. Let's go ahead and break this down, guys. I haven't encountered it.
Florida braces for its second major hurricane. As Florida braces for its second major hurricane in less than 2 weeks, Vice President Kamala Harris is living it up on her New York City media tour.
If he wins, God forbid, would you feel safe in this country? Would you stay in this country?
Howard, I'm doing everything I can to make sure he does not win.
Let's, Kamala, and I'm calling you Kamala because for all of those who are mispronouncing
of course she went on The View.
it, I want you all to know how to say it. I like candidates who show up for interviews. Just saying.
Would you like to have a beer with me so I can tell people what that's like?
The time I had beer was at a baseball game with Doug.
So cheers.
Cheers.
Joe Koch is a Fox News contributor. He joins us now. Big picture, Joe. How did Kamala come off doing what I'm going to call comfortable interviews at a time when millions of people are mere hours away from being anything but comfortable, having their entire lives upended in an instant?
Right, laughing and smiling.
The optics are profoundly horrific, Todd. I mean, she comes across as an elitist doing a tour around New York City with her friends. And let's not call this a media blitz because these are not media people that she spoke to for the most part when we're talking about Colbert, when we're talking about The View, when we're talking about Howard Stern. And this is the quandary now, guys, for Kamala and her campaign. If you keep her in the so-called basement, then voters don't get to know her and the fear of the unknown becomes real. But if you put her out there, even in the friendliest of environments, she can't handle even the easiest of softballs for the most part. And after 2 days of Kamala Harris being the focus for once and Donald Trump not being the focus for once, for the most part, this so-called media blitz was a net negative because the only clips that are making the rounds after the fact on social media to the tunes of millions of views show once again that Kamala Harris is all bubbles and no bath when it comes to substance. So I think that the plan was, okay, let's put her in friendly environments and people will get to know her. But those environments like Colbert, The View, Howard, those are all people that are going to vote for Kamala Harris anyway. So I don't know what she gains at this point from doing those interviews. Now, 60 Minutes was a different story, however.
Okay, I can say this right now. She's gaining a lot. Right? What she's doing is she's feeding her ego, right? Purely, and that's all that it is. She's going to these places that are going to throw her softball questions. They're not going to actually ask anything serious at all, right? They were going to vote for her anyway. The viewers of all of these shows were going to vote for her anyway, right? So yeah, this is just feeding her ego, right? She's getting ready for something serious, right? That's really what this is, bro. But either way.
Yeah, that was a hard-hitting one. And I was just looking up, and you kind of have to laugh because all of this is so staged and scripted, Joe. And we showed the clip of Kamala drinking the beer. And Stephen Colbert even said during the interview that he had to ask her and her team beforehand if she wanted to do that. And she requested Miller High Life. Why? Well, it's from Wisconsin, which is a swing state. So it's all about politics. Earlier that morning, she was on The View, and this is one of the moments that's really going viral on social media. Is one of the first questions that she was asked. Here's the question and how she answered it.
Okay.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact. Yeah. The work that we have done.
No. Listen, there have been a lot of mistakes, okay? Like, you literally cared zero about the border until you had to, basically for camera. That's what you did. You cared zero about the border. Look at the current state of the economy also. I hear what you're saying, but the actual, like, the truth of the matter here is that it's the exact opposite of what you're saying, right? But either way.
So not a thing that comes to mind, Joe, on the same day that we find out that there's an Afghan national who came in on a special immigrant visa that was planning a terrorist attack on Election Day. And also one of the other things about that is her whole campaign platform is that she's going to be a change candidate and she's a fresh face. But then she is saying that nothing comes to mind on if she would do anything different over the last 4 years.
You think, like, she literally thinks that the Biden presidency, for some reason, was great. She thinks that this was great. Nah, bro, you can't do this. I refuse.
Boy, Carly, it would be quite the irony if we look back in this campaign, if Kamala Harris loses, that the moment the campaign truly went south happened on all places, The View. I mean, let's underscore this. No Democrat candidate or politician has ever screwed up an interview on that program because the contents are that friendly to any member of that party. And somehow the vice president still screwed it up in the most craptastic fashion one could imagine. That T-ball question, would you do anything differently from the past 4 years? There's a dozen ways to answer that question safely, but Kamala Harris's internal CPU, that is her brain, was not programmed to take this question. So the only thing she could spit out is that she wouldn't change anything for the last 4 years. Just 28% of voters in this country say the country is on the right track under Biden-Harris. That's according to Gallup. That ain't good, especially when it comes to inflation, wages, crime, border, foreign policy. And her argument is that everything has gone according to plan, and I would do the same thing all over again if given the opportunity. That's a campaign ad for Trump. And then 30 minutes later, guys, and I'll leave it here, somebody must have gotten her ear because they said, you better revisit that answer. So she repeated the question back that she got 30 minutes beforehand and said that, yeah, the difference between Joe Biden and me is that I would add a Republican to my candidate, which I guess means say hello to Secretary of Defense Liz Cheney and your White House press secretary, Nicole Wallace. So that's what happened yesterday. And I'll leave it here, actually. Kudos to Bill Whitaker over at 60 Minutes, because for the first time, Kamala Harris actually took something called a tough question or two or three, and he also has follow-up questions. I never saw someone blink as much as Kamala Harris did during that interview, but that definitely did not go well. So the question is, do they put her back out there or do they bring her back in? There is no good option, it seems, at this point for her or for Tim Walz, for that matter.
I mean, just pay attention to what's going on after that interview, right? Like, so after the 60 Minutes interview, what did she do? Right? What did she do? Hopefully you can see all of these things, right? Like, I mean, softball. Oh, we're all friends. I'm going to vote for you anyway, so let's go ahead and have a conversation.
Not on 60 Minutes, I can tell you that much. New York Times yesterday says voters are increasingly viewing Kamala as the change candidate. To your point, Joe, if I'm Donald Trump, I just air that unedited clip to reverse that in response, because I think that totally undermines what the New York Times is saying there. She ain't the change candidate if she just literally on the easiest platform possible says, Joe and I did everything together. That don't look good. That's right. Our Joe always looks good. Joe Concha, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Okay. No, she's not the change candidate. She's to stay the same candidate, obviously. Based off what we just encountered here, that's crazy. Like, how dare you admit that is how you're going to run the country if you win? So it's going to be the same as what we've all been experiencing the last 4 years? Okay. All right. So you're going to print more money than it's already printed. Okay. All right. So the U.S. dollar is going to fall even further. That's what you're saying? So millions upon millions of people are going to cross through the border, allegedly acting like they're claiming asylum when in all actuality they're just economic migrants. That doesn't fall under asylum, right? But either way, catch and release, no problem. Nah, bro, this is too much. I refuse to believe this. So all right, listen, guys, let me know in the comments what you think, right? What do you think she actually meant by that? If 28% of the people are saying that Biden did a good job, and then she then admits and basically says, yeah, we're going to do the same exact thing. Oh, no, you got to go. You got to go right now. Leave. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.